in reference to the 61-degree angle, what two sides do I know? Opposite and adjacent. Again, notice the longest one is the hypotenuse, and I have no information regarding it. Which one is opposite of 61? 100 is opposite of 61, which means x is adjacent to 61. Is it SOH, CAH, or TOA? TOA. The tangent of your angle is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, which has a value of x. Draw this triangle. Don't worry about writing out the words up top. I want you to draw the right triangle and label the angle measures. We're going to draw it twice. The first time, I want you to put the 41-degree angle and leave the 49-degree off. The next time, do the opposite.
Is it 100 over x, the last one?
Yes. Okay, so the first triangle, we're going to use 41 as our designated angle. So the first thing we need to figure out is the two sides that I have information on, what are they in relation to the 41-degree angle? What is 100? The hypotenuse. In reference to 41 degrees, what is x? Opposite. Okay, so now I'm going to go through so, ka, toa. Which function contains OH? Does everybody know where I'm getting OH? Okay. Sine. Sine, cosine, tangent. No. If the hypotenuse is labeled, I'm going to use the hypotenuse. Anytime it's a right angle, I can use any one of these. Okay? This is functions to help us find information out about right triangles. Alright? I don't know if I answered your question correctly. I don't know if I understood your question correctly. Why is that the hypotenuse? Because it's the longest side. Okay? So on this one, with a 41-degree angle, we are going to use sine. Now, that means the sine of my angle, what's my angle? 41 is equal to the opposite, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 100. Like I said again, tonight you're simply going to be setting these up. You're not going to go forward and solve them. We'll do that tomorrow.
Is that like the answer? Oh, so that's not the answer?
That's not the final answer. Okay, we got to learn how to use our calculators. But before we use calculators, we've got to know how to set them up. Now, I asked you to draw the picture again, eliminating the 41-degree angle and using the 49-degree angle. Okay, so we're going to erase everything. Because now if I have a new angle, then that means I have new pieces. All right, well, I have an angle and I have two sides identified. So the question is, what is 100? It's the hypotenuse. I know it's the hypotenuse because it's the longest side. And in reference to the 49-degree angle, what is x? Adjacent, because it is touching that angle. Okay? Which one? So, ka, toa. Ka, C-A which stands for cosine adjacent hypotenuse, is what that stands for. So the cosine of my angle, which is 49, is equal to the adjacent leg over the hypotenuse. And this would be our equation. Yes?
So this leg is the one that's touching the angle?
Put it this way. If you draw an arrow from the angle to the leg, and it's right there, right next to it, it's adjacent to it. Okay? If I designate this angle, and I'm talking about this side here, and I draw an arrow from this to the side, it's opposite the angle. It's not right next to it, it's away from it. But that leg is right next to it. And you might say, well, so is 8.
That's the longest.
But 8 is the longest leg, so 8 is the hypotenuse. All right, so let's set this, well, no, let's do the next one because this one doesn't have that much of it. Okay.
It's always x then.
No, it depends on your function and what's the opposite and what's the adjacent and what's the hypotenuse. We may be looking for the angle. So we may say sine of x. Okay, you just plug in whatever you've identified in those spots. Okay, watch this. If 50 is my designated angle, identify. I have two legs labeled, 12 and x. Identify what are 12 and x. Blake Gotro, you're shaking your head like you know the answer, so I'm going to, okay, you changed your mind? Opposite and hypotenuse. The longest side is the hypotenuse. This is away from or opposite the angle. Okay, so what function do we use, John Bosick? Sine. So, S-O-H. The sine, somebody tell me what to write. Equals x over 12. And the x is at the top, Nicola June, because the x is the opposite, and the opposite goes at the top. The 12 is right here because this represents the hypotenuse.